And we were very confident within 5 years I'd be able to leave engineering, come on full time, and with a little luck at 3 years. Fast forward 8 months in, Tracy's like, you're either coming over, I'm hiring your replacement because this thing's not gonna grow without you. And she goes, you keep saying you don't like what you do, like shit or get off the pot. Thought about it for a day or two and went, let's do this thing. Put a 6-week notice in, went to my boss, told him, he shook my hand and went, I knew this was coming one of these days.
Dude, we all have the best time ever to start a small business.
If I'm not gonna be 100% in, I'm not gonna do it.
Come on, man, just be yourself.
Yeah,
and just show up as yourself.
If you don't realize what I'm really about, I'm about freedom, family, and my country. Andrew, cheers, brother.
Hey, cheers. Thanks for having me out.
Thanks for taking the ride, man.
Absolutely.
You're the first out-of-state Fireside chat.
Oh, this is like a big deal then.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We had people inquire, especially guys from the Den. That's how we met in the Lions Den.
Yes, we did.
Shout out to Lions Not Sheep and Sean. The liberal media is coming after him. Sean, we got your back, bro.
Yes, we do.
He rolled up today in a Lions Not Sheep shirt, representing the whole way down 95. Yeah, we had a couple people inquire, and we weren't there yet because it really started on the basis of, hey, let's give local business owners a commercial who are not the people that are going to get on social media. So some of my customers, clients, and friends that I've looked up to as mentors, they don't mess with social media. They're in their late 50s. They don't really care. Their businesses may have one, but their story wasn't out there. And I knew it. I've had these people as clients or friends for 15, 16 years now, and it was impactful on me. I'm like, why don't I help share that story and then give other young business owners a commercial? And then it started to gain traction, and now it's gaining more traction. And
yes, it is.
You've seen some of the people that have been on, and it's been really humbling and fun. And I'm not gonna sit here and act like Evan and I didn't dream this up. We did, and it's working. But I've dreamed up a lot of other things in the past, and it didn't work. So you're the first one to come in from out of state. I thank you for taking the 6-hour ride.
Absolutely, thank you.
Quickly, what do you think about Jersey and where we're at?
Holy cow, so I had no expectation. My only other time to Jersey was like an hour-and-a-half layover at Newark Airport, and you could see all the industrial stuff off.
Smokestacks.
So that's really all I ever thought of New Jersey, even being honest. And so it's this super cool East Coast chill vibe. You can darn near walk everywhere you want to go, all these cool restaurants and bars and breweries. Beach vibe, boardwalk, like I'm just blown away. Like I had no idea it was like this, and I'm in love with here. I kind of wish I lived here.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get Tracy, who is your business partner and wife, as well as the 2 kids up and come enjoy some of the Jersey Shore life, the pool, the yard. Anyway, a little housekeeping for the podcast for your friends and viewership that are gonna see this. This show really started, and I just gave a little bit of a prelim to this, really started based on Ryan's life, right? What did Ryan go through? And as I was a young kid who was chippy and a little mouthy and thought I knew everything and wasn't willing to listen, it was really hard to find help. A little bit of that was me. A little bit of that was these older guys were chasing down their goals for their family. And I don't harbor any ill will towards any of them that I worked with in the firm. But I always said once I had a couple shekels, I was going to turn around and help the next guy back up the ladder. So this show is about giving a commercial to other business owners, sharing their story, either leaving the corporate world like you did and going into business ownership, entrepreneurship, or your life struggle. Hey, you may be an entrepreneur. You're inside of a sales organization for maybe insurance or for medical devices. Whatever it may be, we want your story out there to inspire the next person who's going through it currently. So that's what the show is all about. And everything that I have learned about you and Tracy and your firm embodies that. So that is why you're here today. So again, thank you for coming.
Well, thank you.
So Zihmer Law Firm, right? I'm saying that correctly.
Yes, that's it.
What do you guys do exactly?
We're an estates and trusts firm, so about half the practice is in estate planning, right? So putting together, protection plan, how to pass assets to the next, generation, trying to avoid probate when people want to do that, tax structuring. The other part of the practice then is estate and trust administration. So whenever people lose loved ones, carrying out the estate, going through probate, handling inheritance taxes, all the notifications, and just all of that paperwork and legal process. And our goal is to really give like a concierge white glove service to people, give them peace of mind, and just say, you don't have to know all of this. That's what we're here for. Just tell us what needs, kind of at the high level, what needs done or what your like goals are, and we'll handle it.
Yeah, and it's complex. I can't talk too much about it myself because of compliance. We talked about this earlier, but I've walked through a lot of those scenarios beforehand as well as after, and there's a lot to know. You need to have somebody you absolutely trust because, again, we said this earlier too, there's so many moving pieces. You could be a CEO of a Fortune 1000 company and still not understand all the moving parts that comes to an estate plan or business structure.
Yes.
And an estate plan. So you and your firm do that well, and you guys have had great growth. But I want to rewind it and jump back into your life, talk about Tracy a little bit as well. Grew up in the suburbs of Pittsburgh, right?
Yes.
Big Steelers fan?
You know it.
Yeah, Zeke, baby. Feed that man. Last game I was at.
Here, right, we're at the same football game, don't even know it. We're probably within a couple of rows and things of each other. And yes, we got beat. You guys won.
Yeah, I remember walking out of the stadium just talking so much trash to the Pittsburgh fan. Feed that man. I'm surprised I didn't get punched in the face.
He crushed it the fourth quarter. He just racked it up and put that thing
screen
away.
pass, dude. He just ran
Yes,
past
he did.
everybody. And then, he just ran through the line, the last run. Pittsburgh is, really a city that was built off of the steel manufacturers, right?
Yes.
The state of PA was that old school, hardworking family. Parents back then worked in those types of factories. Talk a little bit about your childhood and growing up in that area and what you were exposed to, what you saw in your household.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in, when I was little, mom didn't work. She was a stay-at-home mom and had the difficult job of, raising kids and doing that. My dad worked at a coal-fired power plant in the area. His dad was a steel worker. That was the kind of culture, traditional, blue-collar, middle-class, family values, putting the time in with each other, doing the chores, going outside, cutting grass, work hard, play hard, but there was a lot of work involved, and that was how we did it. And you don't realize how much that impression, gets into you, and you really learn from a young age, put the work in, stay after it, treat people well, family matters, having friendships, community. And that was what I grew up in.
It was the old school America, manufacture, coal, steel, work hard, stay-at-home mom, taught your kids values. Where do you see America today, talking from a business owner perspective, or maybe talking from a perspective of why other people won't take the leap of faith like you have from the corporate structure, and maybe lacking a little bit of what you and I had?
I think it's this safety net, right? You get conditioned into, I've got health care, I've got retirement, 3% match, I've got a salary that's letting me pay for the mortgage, go on a vacation, and I think you get just kind of walked into that's what it's supposed to be, right? I think media and everybody tells us that's the goal, that's it. And this, I think it's this safety culture of don't do too much, there's too much risk, it's too scary, don't do it. And people like us, it's that's not for me. I'd rather live and die with my own sword. I'm not afraid of the eat what you kill model. I'm totally okay with, I will go get more than you, and then I deserve more. But that's not for everybody. But I think it's changed over the last 30 or 40 years from there were certain types of jobs and a lifestyle that afforded that back maybe in the 60s, 70s, and even through the 80s, and that has now changed to it doesn't go as far.
You're lower middle class or on the brink of poverty.
You are.
Sadly, especially with 9% inflation.
Even you talk to people, you like the $100,000 salary, that's phrased out of the early 80s. Today's dollars, that's $490,000 or something. It's it's different, but people still kind of keep these same targets and mindsets, and they're playing catch up now.
Well, in my opinion, the system itself, the central banking system, has continued to get wealthier, and the number is still, I'll pay you $100,000, and people think that's good, to your point, but it's it's nothing. So
It's
everybody
not
else
buying what
keeps
it did,
getting
no.
wealthier, but they're not passing it down, and it's because of the power structure that is currently set up today. So, grew up in the suburbs, play sports in high school?
I did. I played some basketball, played football, and I played volleyball.
How tall are you?
Just a hair over 6'6".
Yeah. I was like, I need to get 10-foot clearance in my house for you.
I'm used to ducking places and things. It's just kind of ingrained in me at this point.
Yeah, you're a tall dude. You're a tall guy. So, what was your favorite sport?
Football. So, being the tall guy, you'd think basketball. I really liked basketball, but I played football. I went out sophomore year, and that level of aggression.
DN, tight end.
That's what I was. I was, tight end on offense and defensive end on defense. And defense was fun because it was like a controlled rage, which I can get kind of fired up.
Yeah.
It was cool to be like, you've got quarterback contain, just go smack somebody really hard and go after him.
Hit him right in the mouth and
it
the
was
chin.
like, that's really all you want me to do. Like, yes, that's really all we want you to do. I wasn't great, but it was just an awesome outlet. The team structure, egos really, I think, went away. Sometimes in basketball, there's 5 guys on the court. You're really fighting for positions. There can be a little bit more ego just the way the game's played. Football was such a... Quarterback can be awesome, but if the center can't get him the ball, this thing's going to collapse and be a fumble and going back the other way. And so I think I really enjoyed that aspect.
So talking about getting out that aggression, and I was the same way. Maybe if it was either fighting outside of that, and not that I wanted to be a tough guy, but I did have anger and aggression issues. What did you think that stemmed from? We talked a little bit about this earlier. Maybe as a younger kid, you didn't have a ton of friends in the neighborhood or in school. And again, I want nuggets out there in these types of settings that someone who may be going through that struggle or just got out of it, that other people did it and they ended up in a good place later on in your life.
Absolutely, yeah.
Talk a little bit about your experience with that.
I had, I've got a brother who's a year and a half younger than me, and growing up, and I had 2 best friends that were next door neighbors. After that, I did not have a lot of friends through middle school, high school. I was homeschooled for 3 years, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, which are formative years. I'm really glad I was. I learned a lot of good family values. But kind of when you went back then, it was like friendships were starting to be made, the cliques were forming, you're kind of like the new kid in school even though you know them. And I just never really fit in real well. And I think, there was parties going on or guys on the football team were going out, and I was left out a lot. And, it kind of can be a lonely feeling, and you're like, I'm not good enough. And I think I channeled that into this just like, I have to beat all of you at everything I can in life. And
I totally get it.
Now, when people kind of go, you just seem so hyper-focused, it's like, I've never forgot that. I'm not angry about it, but now it's just like, it's kind of helped drive me to a certain point that now I'm like, let's just use that and keep kind of funneling it now to better things. But, people doubted me. People didn't think I was good enough, smart enough, cool enough. I was the smart kid. A lot of people, wanted to copy my homework. Mm-hmm. A lot of people wanted me to help them figure something out, but weren't on the social aspect. I was not good enough.
Yeah.
And I felt like I never really forgot that.
Yeah. And again, a lot of times you can use those things. I had similar things happen in high school where I was in the smaller classes. I had an IEP. They classified me ADHD. And I always had this label that they put on me, and that was like this fuel, this chip. That also did get me in trouble until I learned to hone it in and channel it in the right areas. And still to this day, if I want to unleash it, it does come out. But I don't think it ever fully goes away. But you do let go of the anger. You do let go of anybody who may be annoyed. And still to this day, every counselor or nurse or anybody who, classified me a certain way, I don't hold anything against them. And you move past it. But for the people who are struggling in high school and have that same lonely feeling that you did, look how this guy has turned out. You have a great life, great wife, beautiful kids. You're on your UTV, you're shooting your guns, you got your camper, you got a beautiful home, you're living life. So it ends. And there's a lot of stuff with teen suicide. We had an organization come on. They do a great job. They go into the school districts and they talk about these things. You don't have to figure it out right this second. Yes. You're in high school. I'm sorry to run on, but it's something I am passionate about, and you're a testament.
Yeah, and it was really cool. So when I got to college, the guys next door to me.
Where'd you go?
Gannon University up in Erie, Pennsylvania, little private school. And the guy next to me had a poster on his wall. And I'll never forget, walked in, parents had just left, went over, shook hands, introduced ourselves. And it said, rarely in life do you have the chance to reinvent yourself. And I saw that and went, nobody knows me. I can, I'm not bringing that in here and all that baggage unless I intentionally do that now. And so right then and there, I was kind of like, I'm smart, I'm hardworking, I'm fun, I'm worth being around. And I feel like right then and there, I really changed. And I remember my parents saw him, Christmas break, when I came home a couple of times, but it was like within that next year, they were like, you're different. It was, I think I felt like I could be who I really was.
Yeah, and that's the value in college. It's not the bullshit academia courses or the indoctrination that happens there.
It was friendships and just some space to get it figured out, and a chance. For me, it was a clean break. I went to that school with no one from my high school went there. Sometimes, whole groups go schools. Yeah. I went there without a single friend. It was a clean start, and I think that was one of the best things I ever did from that aspect.
That's awesome. And what did you study in school?
Electrical engineering.
Yeah, so you're an engineer by trade.
Yeah, which I do absolutely none of now.
Yeah, but you use a lot of that.
Problem solving and critical thinking and the way I tackle problems. It was a great skill set.
So you come out of college, you then go into defense contractor space.
Yes.
You went and worked for Northrop Grumman. How do you say that?
Northrop Grumman.
Northrop
Grumman.
Grumman.
Was down in Baltimore.
And you were an engineer for them. You then went to Rolls-Royce, helping be an engineer there as well. And then you went to, I forget the last one, another defense contractor.
Bechtel, and they run, it's called Bettis Laboratory in the Pittsburgh area.
And what were you doing in all three of those companies as an engineer? Right? There's multiple roles as an engineer.
Yeah, everything from kind of the individual contributors, so helping to solve the problems, design systems. At Northrop, we worked in space systems, so we were basically making intelligent satellites and running those and everything we did with that.
Did you see Elon?
No, but actually that was at the same time that SpaceX was blowing up, and we had a lot of folks that I was working with that were jumping ship to go over there because pay was good. It was less restrictive because, again, the government and the classified world that I worked in, it's hyper locked down, and people wanted to get something different. So a lot of folks went to go work for him that I knew.
Yeah, I can imagine. How are they doing today?
I honestly have lost touch. That was probably the downside of the super classified world, and all of the clearances is that it made it hard to have good friendships in that because you're kind of not supposed to.
Done on purpose.
Yeah,
by design. So when you left the last defense contractor, what was your income?
I think right around $75,000 a year.
And you had been doing that space and job for how many years?
Just under a decade, 9.5.
So how old were you when you left?
That would have been 2018, so 33.
33 years old.
Yeah.
So at 33 years old, did you have a child yet?
So we had Maddie. She was coming up on her first birthday.
And your wife, Tracy, who is the lawyer within the firm, you act as kind of like the business development, marketing.
Yes.
And we'll get into that a little bit later. She was inside of another law firm, also making similar money, probably busting her tail.
Yeah. And she was, developing, her skills in this estates and trust world. She had some really great mentors. And from her side, she was developing the book of business. She was getting her own clients, and she was really good in that space. Not only a good attorney at solving the legal problems of working with people, but getting clients. And during that space, she started going, I want to go out on my own, and it's not going to be starting from scratch because I know these people will come with me because they want to work with me. And that was where that started to be born out of those conversations of her saying, that was part of her vision, and then she finally got to a tipping point and said, I'm just doing this.
So, and I could see that in a lot of people, right? The frustration builds, and then something just blows the lid off it, and you either get fired, quit, and then you're forced into going to jump off the cliff. I'm sure you guys are strategic about it. I want to talk about the household family office meetings, right? So I'm sure you guys will sit down at the dinner table or over a glass. Tracy, I hear you don't like bourbon. That does make me a little upset. But let's just say a really nice glass of Sauvignon Blanc or a Cab, whatever it may be. and you guys would discuss this. What were those discussions like between you and Tracy about starting your own thing?
Yeah, so in the early days, it went from her saying, I'm thinking here in the next year. Well, I'm thinking in the next 6 months. And then I remember she came home one day and just said, I'm doing this now. I'm tired of making this hour-and-a-half drive, having to go to the office, not feeling like I'm being really respected with being all of the clients I'm bringing in, and just, I want to do my own thing. And so I really wanted to be supportive, but my engineering mindset makes me very conservative and very risk averse, and
you guys need spreadsheets. Everything has to work out on the spreadsheet, it doesn't work.
Yes, you're not kidding at all.
I have a friend, John Achille, like that. John, I know you don't listen to the podcast, but I'm going to make you listen to this one.
So it was. It was a very, she's going, I have faith in myself, I believe, and I want to do this. And I'm going, okay, great. So how many clients do you have? What comes in a month? What software do you need? Where's your office space going to be? What's the lease? And we kind of started building out a high-level business plan, and went, I'm pretty sure even with a fudge factor that's against us, you're going to make more money. Even if we don't do a great job, you're going to be at or above where you are. And she was like, I'm totally in. So we said, all right, let's pull the trigger.
So she took the leap of faith first.
Yes.
Now, without getting too crazy into your personal finances, a lot of times for the people who are watching this show, they may be at a point where they got a $3,000 a month mortgage payment, they got a $150,000 salary, their spouse makes another 150 grand, so they got $300,000 of household income. But as you see where we are here, it's extremely expensive to live, right? So how did you guys come up with those funds? Was it just straight out of disposable income that you were continuing to bring in? Did you guys pull from some of your own personal savings? How did you get up and get the money for the office space, the furniture, getting the legal documents in place?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it, and that's what we tell other people was, we started really mapping this out. We were in a space where we did okay. We had some credit card debt. She had undergrad loans, law school loans. I always jokingly called her law school a second home.
Who doesn't in their early 30s as life is starting out?
We did that. We'd had our first baby. We were in our old house. We weren't making $200,000 a piece. We were doing all right, but we did not have tons of extra. That money was in retirement accounts, and
locked up. So that's what they do.
No joke, right? You're looking at it going, what penalties do I have to take if I have to tap into this, if I really have to?
It doesn't matter, it's worth it still.
And so, we're looking at all that. We had some savings. We tried to be really strategic. We used, we had a friend, an amazing, partner that Tracy's had, we've worked with, for a lot of years, the Moose and Eggies, and they hooked us up with a spare office in the back corner of their suite for
awesome.
$200 a month.
Good friend.
I think it already had a desk in there. We were buying used furniture on Facebook Marketplace. I remember the day that we rented a U-Haul, picked all of this furniture up for the office and stuck it in our garage. We started there. We weren't buying the expensive stuff day one.
Dude, first of all, how crazy expensive is office furniture?
I think they make it more expensive just because it's business.
Yeah, and then you think we're going to go to these liquidation companies and we're going to get it cheaper. When I told you I picked up my little satellite office here just to get out of the house and not drive all the way to Red Bank. We have very similar furniture. I think so. The same exact thing. And I was looking around and I saw your furniture. I liked it. Matt Lang had similar furniture. And I'm like, 10 grand for 2 desks and a little table? What's going on here?
It's mind-blowing. So we were able to get, use things.
But those are big lifts for people. As they start to look into the prices, it becomes overwhelming.
It's huge, so you've got to be strategic. We said, we'll get there one day. But, I don't have to have the absolute greatest.
A lot of times, I got to jump in. People think, and Jordan Peterson said something along this lines. I'm going to mess it up a little bit, but he said too many people, you're going to need to relate that at the break. Too many people want to come up with the perfect idea when it comes to business. The perfect looking office, because you know what other wealthy people in that space are doing. The perfect employees. You just got to take a step forward. You may not even end up doing that step that you took forward 5 years from now, but that step helped you learn and fail forward. And I think too many times when you're starting to add the bills up, the rent, the desk, the this, the that, it's paralysis by analysis. And people need to not do that. They need to just take action.
You've nailed it. and people don't understand how much it's a human connection and in the value add between people. It's a nice office, nice, absolutely, but if you're not treating them the right way, if you're not giving them the right product and making it that whole experience, it doesn't matter if you've got the nice desk or not, or the awesome conference room. It's coming down to the people across the table from you.
I did it. Sean Mulligan and Lauren Mulligan, they're great people. They're very involved in the Seeger community. Shout out to Sean and Laura. I love you guys. You're good people. I was already in the financial planning business. I was working for another firm. My partner at the time, Guy Tierndole, and I were like, we're done with this. This place is all about their pocket. They're never caring about us. We're going on our own. And we weren't like top producers at the time. I was a young guy still figuring out how to manage my emotions and not go off the handle. And, Guy was a little bit older than I was, but he still wasn't where he wanted to be in his career. And we saw this space in Seeger, which was stunning, to Sean's credit and Laura's credit designing it. It was where the city meets the sea, and everything was glass partitions, beautiful mahogany floors, and we were able to rent out half the building for $2,500 a month. And Guy and I would split the rent, and we're like, this is gonna help us get so many more clients. It didn't do anything.
They don't care.
No one gave a shit.
Nope.
We were the only ones that gave, and we were spending big money.
Yeah.
To do so. So a lot of times when people are looking to take that leap, they need to just go do it.
That's what I tell everybody. It's a decent plan with action is better than waiting for that perfect plan with no action. And that's what we did. I mean, we had a one office in someone else's office, sharing conference rooms, mostly working out of the spare bedroom in our house. We had 2 desks side by side.
Now, were you still at
Yeah, so I'm doing engineering all day from 8 to 5. Come home, dinner with Tracy, hang out with Maddie for a little bit, put her to bed, and then at that point then I'd go work on the website. I'd go deposit checks, mess around in QuickBooks, and do that till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. And then we would do that on the weekends, and I did that for a year. It's exhausting, but it's what it takes.
It's a grind, yeah. And there's no sugarcoating that. You're going to work all day as an engineer, coming home, you're getting on the QuickBooks. Now, we talked about this a little bit, but your role, again, in the firm is the website, Google, spreadsheets. We talked about you love spreadsheets.
Yes, I do.
They get you excited. Right? That's not Tracy's gig. Tracy is a brainiac when it comes to tax planning, litigation, probate.
It was always keep her in the legal space as much as possible, because then she's billing
That's
it
what makes
as
money.
that role. And I go, I actually like all of the other things, so this is like a match made in heaven then.
So talk about how you felt about that exhaustion, because people don't see it with Evan and I. I have a full-time job that I have a firm and clients that I don't let down.
Yes.
I pick up every phone call I get back with by the end of the day. I come home, I'm a dad. I have the freedom and flexibility, thankfully, to go to the park, swim with my son, see my beautiful daughter, and hang out with my wife. But I'm burnt a lot. We just took 2 weeks off. I'm recharged and we're ready to go. Talk about what you were telling yourself mentally when you were that exhausted, because you had to be.
Yeah, so it was there, and we started talking. I wanted out of the corporate world. I was not loving it. I was not happy. I had the Sunday scaries. I had anxiety. I hated going to work every day. It was just this dread feeling. But even as tired as I was amped up to start my second job at 7, 8 o'clock at night.
You're the man.
And we started having these talks on when could I maybe come in full time? What would the revenue need to look like to be able to take on the salary and switch things over? So we started coming up with these targets and what would it look like? What's the revenue? What's the projections? What have we seen over the past couple of months? And we were very confident within 5 years I'd be able to leave engineering, come on full time, and with a little luck at 3 years. Fast forward 8 months in, Tracy's like, you're either coming over, I'm hiring your replacement because this thing's not going to grow without you. And she goes, you keep saying you don't like what you do, shit or get off the pot. Thought about it for a day or two and went, let's do this thing. Put a 6-week notice in, went to my boss, told him, he shook my hand and went, I knew this was coming one of these days. And
talk about that trepidation. Talk about that anxiety to leave that steady paycheck, especially as an engineering mind, right? You guys like known outcomes. You guys like to have, again, I'm joking, but a spreadsheet that lays out the math. But life is not that. You have to go off of concepts sometimes. You have to go off of luck, risk, whatever you want to call it. Talk about that fear and how someone may overcome it for themselves.
It was, I mean, at that moment, that was probably the hardest decision I've ever made, to give that up. And I've got Tracy going, I believe in you, I believe in us, I believe in this thing we're doing together, and we're going to do something really special. But we have to take this risk to have you there all day long, to free her up more, to really grow it. And I'm going, where does it say that on a spreadsheet? I'm not seeing it. I hear it, I understand it, but I don't see it being proven mathematically. And that made me freak out.
And money's not math, math is not money.
Yeah, and so that was, I think, a big turning point to start seeing belief in yourself and action really, really matters.
Yeah, and having a partner that pushes you and believes in you is also a big thing. I see a lot of these corporate guys that I love. My brother-in-law, Chris Berg, he's dedicated to New York life. In New York life, you are lucky to have this guy, and he's very intelligent, and he's one of the hardest workers I know. And I'm not saying he wants to, but you know, they've owned his life for the last 12 years. He has 4 children now. Thankfully, this year, he stood up for himself a little bit and went out and said, I'm going to go coach football. He was a good football player. He's got 3 sons that are playing football, and now he's going to stay home and not go to the city those days and not work as hard as those days to go give back to his community. And those are the guys like Chris Berg, my brother-in-law, that we need giving back to the community and raising the next generation. He said to me the other day, he's like, I cursed in practice a couple times. I'm like, good. You know, fuck these little kids, you know? They need an ass kicking, you know? And just to be able to help people get over that hurdle and you coming and sharing your story, I really do appreciate it, Andrew.
No, I thank you for the platform to do it. Yeah, that corporate world was so unforgiving. I mean, it's slave-like, you know, and sure, it fits for some people, but I will not forget. So I took that last job at Bettis Laboratory 6 months before Tracy and I got married. So this would have been back in 2013. We get married, go on the honeymoon. I come back from the honeymoon Monday morning, check my email. Hey, all the government furlough stuff's going on and the sequestering budget stuff. You guys might not be getting paid in 2 weeks. This is what I've been working for. Like, this is the pinnacle of my life, is to have someone go, by the way, we just might not have money for you anymore. And I think that kind of build up over time is like, I'm done. Like, screw you guys.
You go back to that kid who wasn't allowed to the party.
Yeah.
And you said, I'm going to go create my own life and my own freedom for myself and my family. So let's fast forward. You guys, let's just say 2 years in, what were your revenues that you were bringing into the firm?
So the first year, we consider a wild success. We did just a hair over 150,000. Like year 2 then, so 2 years in, we're probably like 350, 375. We're doing well. We're taking home a nice chunk of that and going, this is good.
Yeah.
We're having a heck of a lot of fun. This is special. We're paying things down. We're able to go, pay for a nice trip to Disney World. We're starting to maybe think about buying a bigger house and going, we kind of made it.
So even right there, and that's a lot of times I think where some people misconstrued me that I'm just about money, and I want people to know that I'm not. I'm about more freedom and flexibility with the family. There was multiple times this week that my staff, my operations manager, Matt, who's great, are continuing to do things for my clientele, and things keep moving down the field, and I was in the pool with my son. We had a rough 2-3 weeks with my daughter being in the hospital. You knew about that. So my son was a little off, as you can imagine. So I wanted to spend some extra time with him, give my wife a little break. My wife's the rock. She was in the hospital. It's not always about going to 500,000, 600,000, $1 million, and the revs that you do nowadays. Sometimes you guys are now making the same, maybe slightly more than both of you guys, the income you were making before going on your own. But now you have more time with your family and each other.
It's huge. So we're getting, next weekend, we're going on our 10th camping trip of the year. We're big RVers. I don't count days off. I couldn't tell you how much PTO I've taken this year. We've built a system that lets me get out of the office. The team keeps working. We're available. I'm sending some emails, jumping on a call when I need to. But I mean, before it was like, hey, here's your 3 weeks and a couple of sick days, and 5 more years, you get an extra week, and there's no tracking it. We're either like being profitable or we're not. And when we're profitable and the team's working, we're jiving. It's a system that functions and allows us a lot of work from home. As much as, I'll put it, you see this, like, it's easy to see, like, Andrew and Tracy are out in the RV, they're in the Smoky Mountains, or they're riding side by sides, like that's all it is. I was up until last night, 3 a.m, doing invoicing and payroll.
Yeah, because you were coming here.
Yeah, so I got 3.5 hours of sleep last night because I had to take care of some stuff so that I could be in a car all day today.
Yep.
That's the not glamorous side.
Yep.
But it's completely worth it to me.
Yeah, 100%, because the other time off in the camper and having the family in the dually is something special.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about systems, since you brought up systems, and we have talked about systems many times, and mine aren't perfect. I have partnership with IFC, Integrated Financial Concepts, and Mike Marino and his team, and we have a great staff that helps Ryan's business function, and then I have my own staff and operations manager, Matt. And what I have realized is the more I pump money into those things, the more I take time on those things, which is kind of annoying.
It is.
Right? It's not a revenue producing activity, but it is, right? Because it pays me later. Talk about some of the systems you have in place, and then maybe we'll drill down a little bit deeper on 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah. One of the ones I liked, and it's very tangible, is kind of part of our like intake process, engagement letters, proposals to leads that become clients. And earlier this year, we went to a new software tool. Yeah, I mean, that's all I did for a week.
What's it called?
Clio, and then is the overall parent company, and then the new part we use is called Clio Grow. And it's a whole intake for law firms.
Evan got a delivery for us.
Thanks, sir.
Fisher Island, they're delicious.
All right.
We're finishing up the bourbon. What'd you think about my old fashioned?
If this ever doesn't work out, you can be bartender.
Hey, I'll do whatever it takes to feed my family.
That's the truth, and that's what this is all about.
Yeah. So what does that system exactly do when it comes to the inbound leads? Is it a CRM?
It's a CRM, right? And so what it does is we get an inbound call or something, we can put the names, create the contact, where they came from, the referral source, tag notes, automate emails to them.
Yeah.
But the
BCC, flip it back to the CRM.
All of it.
Yeah.
The big piece that it does is it took the way that we send engagement letters and proposals from about a 20-minute process down to probably about 5 minutes.
Now, is that automated? Is it all templates that are saved within there?
It's templates. So, once you put the contact in, then it's able to put that into an engagement letter. It's 2 clicks and you hit send.
So you click new lead, automatically when you click new lead, templates come up.
Yes.
Then it goes to an automated AI, blast, email
Send
blast.
it out and it just goes. I can hit a button and send a follow-up. And so I spent a week, 40, 50 hours building this out. We say 15 minutes per engagement letter we send. We send, 500-600 engagement letters a year. So saving 15 minutes times 500, that's a lot of time savings.
Compound effect.
But you don't feel like it in the moment when you're grinding through setting up the new tool.
Yeah. And that has allowed you to free up a lot of time.
Yeah. And what it does is it keeps you maybe from having to hire the next person. We have a team, we like growing it and being what that does in the community. But again, when you're efficient, you don't have to just always throw manpower at it. You can use tools and say, hey, could the 2 of us then take half an hour a day and add this piece in, and it keeps you from having to hire. You can go to part-time or for a new hire and do that.
What are some other systems that you use within the firm?
I mean, kind of everything.
Yeah.
We're really mapped out because we do a lot of repeatable work. With estate planning kind of falls into a couple of buckets. Our estate administration process, while it's lengthier, it's still a very start to finish system. And so we use Trello for project management and tasking the team. And so we have checklists and systems that we use to then task each person, where the deadlines are.
This probate comes in, This is going to Julie. I'm making up names.
Yep.
Johnny.
You're going to create
task.
this petition. When you get the petition, you push it here for a review. Once it goes to review, you're going to see if it needs renunciations. You're going to put that in a packet, give it here.
Now, how do you guys communicate internally? Is it all just email, Teams?
We use Microsoft Teams, email, and then Trello lets you add comments and things, so it's a blend of that.
That's cool. Yeah, I have a lot of different systems that are, finance is very different because it's so regulated. I have to use
Their tools.
Yeah, their tools, but still doing the same thing. And then talk about, I just realized I got stuff all over my shoe. All the, what do you do in a sense of prospecting? So let's just say those letters come in, 500 go out. What percentage in that year convert to you doing some work for somebody and the firm getting paid?
Yeah, so pretty much for every inbound lead, either referral or someone who finds us online, emails us in, all that, we convert about 50%. So,
That's great, dude.
Yeah, so we bounce between, we've been tracking much better this year, and it's any given month, it's between about 47 and 55%.
Now, does the system, we're going back to Clio now, does the system bank them for later and have other touch points or verticals of email that you can track and then send to them a different type of follow-up, not that initial email you sent maybe the year or two before?
So it allows for it as we're building it out. So that's what I've been working on a lot this year then, has been the follow-ups, the second, the third follow-ups, and now we're getting ready to start moving that into MailChimp then for the long-term drip campaign of just, this is kind of what we do. This is how we could help. This is how we could help maybe someone else in the family. Just be aware of what we do. Very not pushy, but just top of mind. Because I don't know when someone's going to go into a nursing home and need to do a Medicaid spend down, or when they're going to lose a loved one and need to probate. So it's just sort of a gentle, let's stay in front of you because we can help.
Yeah, they may have come in and they didn't do the planning yet, and there's still time to do the planning. And the estate planning side of law, it's always the planning you can't do when it's too late, right?
Yes.
It's I can't buy life insurance once I'm dead.
Yeah,
right?
that we fall in that same model.
So when it comes to that type of, I call banking names later, you should take a look at Active Campaign also versus MailChimp.
I will.
All
Okay.
day long. And then you can build different verticals. Are you segregating those people? So this person came in for probate, this person came in for CRT, this person came in for an ILIT. Is Clio or you segregating those people so then when you move them over to a new email vertical on Active Campaign, you then send different emails to different people. So if I had a probate issue, I'm not sending them about an ILIT. They don't know what that is.
You're so this is the exact stuff we're starting to look into right now. Is this how do we tag what they came in for, what they might need, based maybe on ages?
I just learned all that for Fireside and different verticals we're running, so I could help you with that.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because it is. Or if someone comes in because their kids, they do a plan with us, their kids are 8 and 10 years old, well, we kind of know their age, or we do have their ages, again, so it's when are they going to retire, knowing what life milestones are coming up down the road and being able to kind of target for that.
Yeah, or let's just say someone just went through a probate issue and they inherited, called $10 million. They now have an estate issue.
Yes.
Potentially, especially in the state of PA, you guys still have an estate tax there.
Yeah.
New Jersey did away with it. Surprised, the communist state we are. But we did it. So moving forward, talk about the Google click ads.
Yeah.
And you have talked a lot about that inside the coaching group, which I have watched you do, as well as you're starting to do a little bit of coaching in your arena. Although you're not an attorney, that actually gives you some autonomy to market yourself a little bit differently than Tracy could do, because she's under some more restrictions when it comes to ethics as an attorney.
So, man, when we first started the firm, maybe 6 months in, we got this opportunity to work with a large company for search engine optimization and a little bit of Google ads. So we took the pitch, took the bait, went in, and were incredibly unhappy. And the engineer in me and said, I can figure this out and probably do significantly better.
Everybody says the same thing about that. All the marketing agencies. They're going to pay $3,000. They're going to get you social media leads. They're going to get you SRO. And a lot of times it just doesn't work.
Totally fizzled. Yeah. So I learned it. And so I started doing search engine optimization. That's a long-term play. You can get some results, but this is really building content for longer term. We're seeing that pay off now, 5 years in. But as we started building that, we saw some leads. We went, people will come find us online. It's not a lot, but people are coming in that way. And then in 2019, I think, we said, you know what, I want to try some Google ads, because then I start testing keywords, and they keep sending us these coupons like spend $300, get 300 free. And so we tried, maybe a month of $600 and I don't know, made 5,000 in revenue, and went, oh, this is really working. And so we kept amping it up. I kept learning more. Again, I'm spending now these nights.
That's a military plane right above us. Oh, damn. That's a big, what is that,
C5 or 17 maybe?
Yeah, that's a big boy. That's American muscle right there, baby.
Dang.
He's flying low.
Real low.
He's running some missions to Taiwan.
Yeah.
He's got to keep Pelosi in check. So you guys continued to test this Google click ads, and then you started to increase money supply there. What are you up to now per month in running Google ads and SRO?
Right around $9,000 a month. And that usually pays us between $50,000 and $90,000 in revenue, depending on how that month shakes out.
And back to your lead system, is 50% of your leads Google now, and 50% of the leads are referral or other self-observation?
Yep. So this year it is pretty much touching now at about close to 50-50. Because as we kept putting more and more money into Google, each year, it's just coming up to about 50%.
So you're doing roughly close to $200,000 a month in revenues.
So we, anywhere, between 1 and 2, that's where we're starting to bounce around now. And so, this year we'll probably do like $1.1 million, and
that's great, dude.
Yeah, and thinking 5 years ago we were doing 150, and we're totally stoked about that.
Yeah, and think about the compounding factor in 10 years. Again, that was a conversation we had earlier. Think about 10 years from now, what that will pay off, especially in the space of SRO and all that long-term building that you're building on Google.
Absolutely, and a lot of it's that self-limiting beliefs. I think 5 years ago we kind of really didn't believe we could really do this, and now I'm starting to go, ooh, where could we be in 5 years? Let's get creative. That's why we're out here, kind of. Part of it's let's take a look around. Should we have an office out here at some point? Is this a kind of a market that we could help in? Where else could we go? And we're starting to go, I think we can scale this and start popping in different areas. And you go, can I go 300 to $1 million every office I throw in? We can be a big brand.
Well, people start to think immediate scale brings anxiety, because you remember that first lift, right? Which is that first brand. But once you get to that first dollar amount that you had in your mind, it then becomes a little bit easier, and you actually have more time. It's not, oh, I got to spend more time. No, that's only if you're a control freak. If you build the right systems, it actually gives you more freedom and requires less time in a sense of working, and produces more revenues.
Oh, absolutely. You start seeing that this scaling, the larger you build it, some parts do get more challenging and harder and bigger, but then there's also this side that it actually becomes easier to some certain degree as it gets larger, because I can now actually afford to have a larger team. I can bring more people in. I can find more people that can
give Tracy a break a little bit more too.
Yeah, I'm good at a lot of things, but I have a lot of shortcomings too. I can hire more people to augment what I do. And then you can really grow.
Now you guys are going for your next office soon, right?
Yeah, so we're starting to really talk heavy, probably about Hershey or Harrisburg or Erie. So Hershey, Harrisburg are right next to each other in Pennsylvania, or Erie, because they're 2 to 3 hours away.
Is there a lot of concentration of wealth there that would need this type of planning, or
Harrisburg and Hershey definitely. Erie is a mixed bag. There's wealth, but it's also kind of, parts of it can be a poor city, parts of it are well off. And so, that's where we're kind of testing the waters on what makes sense. We actually partnered with a colleague from the old engineering world. Shout out to Julie Basilewski. She got a master's in data science and needed to do a project. And so we were able to get some data over to her that we were able to share. And she was able to find zip codes across the country that are similar to the zip codes that work for us right now.
See, that's the shit that's out there, man. People just don't realize.
And so then she gave, it was good for her for school and all this, and then she was able to give me this report to go, based on what's working for you, this is everywhere in the country that's similar.
Yeah, and then you met Ryan, and we had a call, and I said, fuck all that. Just come to Red
come out
Bank
here.
and Bayhead.
It's shocking how good of a fit it could
I
be
think you
out
had a
here.
conversation with your accountant or another lawyer, and you had mentioned Red Bank. You were just talking to this guy. His office was in Red Bank. And she was like, Red Bank's definitely where you want to be for estate planning.
It was an attorney that we had at the time, and she was like, oh my gosh, absolutely, like that would totally make sense. I'm like, I've never heard of this place. Where is it? And she's like, it's over on the shore. It's like outside the city, but kind of the city, you know, like type of money and people though, but it's different. She's like, yeah, I could see that being good.
I truly enjoyed driving you around today and seeing your head on a swivel of, you know, the homes that are here, the boardwalk, just the whole setup and scene.
It was a fun shock. I had no idea. I think I told you I came across that bridge and saw like fishing boats, and then came down and kind of could see the beach at one point before I turned on your street and going, this guy like lives at the beach. This is the kind of place I'd go vacation. This is where he gets to live every day.
Yeah, we're blessed.
I was totally just not calibrated. I mean, it's like every turn I was just like, what's this?
Yeah, I can't believe you're this close, and you have all these restaurants and bars.
Oh,
and,
it's so cool here.
yeah, I love that, man. And this is an experience we want to create for more people that, you know, want to come from out of state, because it's fun for me. My wife and I both entertain. She's not able to hang out and have drinks with us tonight. We have a very young baby and, and a toddler, but we truly enjoy entertaining people and bringing them here to this community, and it can absolutely be a great place. Not to mention, just you and I alone could be a natural jive of
Oh my gosh.
planning together.
It fits.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, I'm totally blown away with the area.
So I want to go back quick. You talked about the long-term play, I think, on SRO. Get into the weeds on that a little bit, and what that
Yeah.
means.
So the way those algorithms work, you know, Google's scanning the website. Essentially, it's trying to understand what's on a website from a content perspective. So when someone searches something, not on the ad, like the organic search results to show up. The long-term piece is this like brand authority, page authority thing, where if you've had a business and a website up for the last 20 years, that kind of counts more, right? There's all these data points to Google. And traffic's one, how long people stay on once they hit your website, and if they visit more pages, all these things are positives. And a big one is like how long you've been out there, how long the content's been up, how much content you create. So that's where the concept of like blogs comes from, and updating pages, right? If you make a website, put all this work in and never touch it again, in Google's opinion, you might have went out of business. If you've got a blog
It's
article,
computer's opinion.
you know, if a blog's going up every 3 days, you're very active, you're very relevant today, and so like that helps. And so, you know, people sometimes can get frustrated with SEO because you're going from not ranking at all to now ranking on the 100th page, to ranking on the 70th page, to the 20th page, and you realize that if you're not, you know, result 1, 2, 3, 4, it doesn't matter. And so people are too impatient and go, you know, hey, you went from not ranking to the 6th page. That's a huge win. It's not going to make revenue yet, but you're getting there. And that's kind of what we saw. I had all the tools and could track it and go, oh my gosh, we're moving up. We used to not rank. Now we rank 44th. Now we rank 21st. Now we rank 16th.
Where are you at now?
We have a lot of search terms that we rank top 5.
That's great.
And so then a lot of things too, we can be an ad. You know, that map that shows up will be in the map, and then we'll be underneath it. So then brand relevancy, these guys show up 3 times for a search for best probate attorney near me. They must be good.
Do you
They
think
keep seeing
people
their
think
name.
that way, though?
Absolutely. So
I don't think that way. And I feel like I know that space. I just think, like, if I Google, like, gun dealer, and gun dealer in Spotswood, and it says SE Arms, shout out to SE Arms, I want to just call SE Arms. So it shows on the map, but then it gives their number underneath it. I don't think that the brand recognition...
Not brand, but like from an aspect of, I think there are people though that will say, you guys kept showing up, or we kept doing different searches and you guys kept coming up. You had to be good. I don't know, you kept showing up number 1. They don't know how it functions. They just go, oh, I threw in probate, estate administration, attorney near me, and just kept showing up 1, 2, 1. They go, you had to be good, so we clicked.
Yeah, and that's what people don't realize. Digital media, social media, which we'll get into next, I have the ability to, no matter where you are, even if you're sitting on the toilet, I can bring Main Street across you, where you used to have to drive down Main Street and see the ads or see the billboard. Now I can bring it to you no matter where you are. And I talk about consistency. That's why Evan and I are going to continue to show up every week as much as we can. Again, Evan went away. I had a baby sick. But we're going to show up consistently every week, and we're seeing our rankings grow, and we're seeing our views grow.
The people that put in the work, do it consistently, and just stay on it, even when it doesn't maybe seem fun or it doesn't seem like it's paying off, and they keep staying in it and then stay in a little longer, then the magic
you reap
happens.
the rewards.
Yeah.
So kind of leaving the digital marketing, advertising, Google space, jumping over into the social media. I know for a fact, and I hate to speak in the third person like I'm narcissistic, because I'm not. I really have been humbled by life and many things. Talking about my daughter, that quickly humbles. I'm helpless. Motherfuckers laugh at me, man, and they have for a long time with me doing social media. But wow, what a powerful tool it has been for me. For Evan, one of the happiest things that I have discovered is the business he has picked up because of his skill set of how this looks.
It's
Wow.
incredible.
Yeah,
like I
think
wish,
about-
like you need like a zoom out to like see like what goes into this, or maybe a behind the scenes sometime, because it's impressive what happens to make this happen.
And that's all Evan, right? So it's the teamwork, and it's putting in the time together and seeing everybody win. But social media has been so powerful for all of us. Everybody who's been connected to this, everybody who's been on it. There's been deals done in the franchise space for franchises, I don't want to put their business out there, that have raised, a few $100,000. There's been other investments into other businesses for 6 figures. There's been cross sales of business of, hey, Ryan, Evan, you know this guy, connect me with him. And they're both good people, so we connect them. This is doing big shit. And we talked about this earlier, and I've said this before. The type of business I would have to be doing, the amount of entertaining, the amount of events, and don't get me wrong, none of this is cheap. Evan gets paid, and he's worth every dollar, and he should probably raise my bill, even though I don't want to pay it. Like, it's not, in total of all the little softwares I have and everything, it's about $4,000 a month to run this, and that's not including anything new. We just hired a copywriter, Carly. We're going to be working with her. I found her in the Lion's Den. These things cost money, but if we're getting minimum 10 to 15,000 views a week, and that is minimum,
it's a lot of eyeballs.
How many people would I have to see a week out in for a coffee, beer, lunch, dinner, whatever it may be? Yeah. I couldn't do it in an annual year.
And I think that's kind of, I was sort of an anti-social media guy until pretty recently.
That's why I'm going to get into it.
And that's where I'm seeing it from, this like more analytical side of it scales you, right? I can shoot a video in my office. I can go, man, I want to share this idea on Google or on self-limiting beliefs or on scarcity mindset or on just motivating someone to have the guts to maybe leave their corporate world to be an entrepreneur. And I can shoot a video, put it up, and then have 4,000 people see it in the next 12 hours.
You had one recently go 16,000 views.
I don't know
and
what
you only
I'm
have,
doing.
500 followers or so?
Like I have nobody.
Yeah.
And you go, I couldn't get in, that's a stadium.
And you didn't pay an ad, you didn't do anything.
That's a stadium.
Yeah.
And you go, and that's what social media gives you. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
How many eyeballs are out there. They're seeing it, they're thinking about it, they're taking it into consideration, and it lets you be out there. Everyone consumes, very few create.
I've burned plenty of shirts and pants. The older generation, too, so much. Jim Tenzio is a part of mine, wildly successful, great guy, I love him. But Jim hated on the social media and what I was doing. And he has no idea that I'm going to clown his numbers by the time I was his age and retiring. And I'm sure he would like to see that. But it will all be done with the compounding factor of Fireside and every vertical that comes off this. Not to mention the opportunities, and again, compliance, I'm not doing any of it, but the opportunities that have come from investment, from people hitting me up out of nowhere. Yo, I got $1 million cash, you're connected, what should I do?
Yes.
That's every week, dude.
Incredible.
That's every fucking week.
Yeah.
That's not a bullshit. That's every week. I'll post up the things and block out people's name and put it up there on my social media.
That is so cool.
Every day I could post something about that. So I preface all of that because you are really naturally kind of a timid guy.
Yeah, I am.
Right? You're no joke. You carry a pistol on you most of the time in PA and on your vacations. You're not somebody to mess with. You would protect your family, but you're the type of guy that would also help a ladybug, go. Like you're a good man, and you were a little shy when it came to this. I remember our first couple discussions. You were very
super shy. Yeah,
about it. Talk about that, and then what you have seen kind of happen.
Yeah, I mean, the Lion's Den, other people, right? And it was this whole kind of concept. I'm like, just be out there, tell your story. You've got a story worth sharing. And I went, no, I don't. I'm not special. I'm just a guy in Western Pennsylvania trying to put his head down and keep working hard and make something for himself and do something special. And you start to see normal people with these incredibly inspiring stories because they're actually sharing the raw truth. Mm-hmm. And you encouraged the crap out of me to just, dude, stories, right? I used to type them all out. Mm-hmm. And you were like, shoot videos. Everything you just said, just say it to video.
Did you ever take me so mean when I was saying that at first and you didn't really know me?
No, because I went, he's right, but I'm too uncomfortable. I can't do this. Yeah. And finally, I'd shoot one. I guess it wasn't so bad. Shoot another one. I guess it wasn't so bad. And did more of it and it just becomes more natural.
And
it's
now
like
you got a video team and a podcast and you're going on all these podcasts.
Right, and it's like a workout. That first time you work out or you get back in the gym, right, things hurt, feels awkward, well then give it 6 or 8 weeks, right, and feels great. And I think it's the exact same thing. It's like working a muscle, getting on camera, speaking with people, getting your thoughts down.
You're killing it tonight. You become like a natural, dude.
That means a lot.
You have 3 cameras in your face and 2 bright lights and people producing this.
It's funny, and I think like 2017 we started the firm, like this makes me want to freak out. Like I go back to then, I go, why? What's special or unique or worth sharing? And I think that goes way back to that high school thing. I'm like, I wasn't cool. I was just by myself, just sort of doing your thing.
Yeah, that trauma kind of comes back up in your world.
You don't want to
look like a loser or embarrassed.
It is, and that's I try to now show people and even help is like, get out there, talk, share. Something's gonna come cool, like something big's gonna come of that, and it's worth it. Share it. You don't know what's gonna happen unless you do it.
You need this much of people. I said this with dynamic contracts. There's 400 million people almost in America. That's not counting worldwide. There's 400 million people in America. If you get 1/8 of that, that's a lot of eyes on you. You could simply have 500 to 2,500 of followers and have a 7-figure business.
Yes.
It doesn't take much. You're going to get the people that are relatable to you. And what has surprised me the most, it's been the kid from Bricktown who came up with a certain walk of life similar to me, to the dude like Basil Iwanek who I had on, who was like, I had a chip. I was a Jersey guy. We were the little sister or little brother of New York, Jersey. I went out to LA and I wanted to get into film, and I failed out of film school and dropped out, and I started playing hoops with some of these guys, a low-level position in Warner Brothers.
That was incredible, like all the people that showed up at those games.
Basketball guy, right? You play basketball. So these things in life actually, turn into positives if you channel your mind there. And sometimes it's a struggle for me to do that, right? Because I want to come out the gates like smash mouth.
Yes.
I'm ready to go. That aggressor is my leading feel-good space. And then I challenge that, Ryan, that's not what you need to do every day. You need to switch up who you are and change it up. And you challenge that in you and switching up. I don't want to be this buttoned-up guy, suit and tie. We had that conversation.
Like you called me out on it, and the first time I was like, no, like I still like it. Like I do like wearing the loafers and the suit and the tie. There's a time and place for it. And you did. You called me out on it the first time or two. I was like,
fuck this kid.
I think he's wrong. No, he's wrong. No, we're at a law firm. We should be. And then it was like, well, maybe I could ditch the tie, you know?
Yeah. And then
now
you
most
felt
days,
good.
you know, it is. I still look professional. I still look good. I can still be in front of a client or talk to them or whatever. I'm a little more comfortable now.
Now you roll into the office once in a while with the Jordans
I do.
on.
Tracy absolutely hates it. But I say I'm the creative marketing guy too, so maybe it's allowed.
But that's being you, and I think that's what, you know, Sean Whalen gets a lot of hate, man, and that guy, in a sense, I'm not saying Sean Whalen and I are the same, because we are different in many ways. I'm misunderstood. You may have been misunderstood in high school, right? And you know what? I can't chase people around trying to be somebody I'm not. You can't do it. And everybody just needs to be themselves. And then once you do that, you attract the right people you like, right? So I know that I go back to anger. That's like a natural thing I go back to, like, fuck you, I don't want to listen to you, you're wrong, smash you in the face. And I may be right, but that's still the wrong delivery.
But I think it was, for me, similar, but I think it was a defense mechanism because of where I got backed into.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't have to be that guy.
Nope, you don't. And you always have to work on it, because it's a natural thing that could just fly off. So, talking about social media, talk a little bit about what you're doing now and what I've seen you progress with over the last 3 months.
I'm really taking this idea, you know, people would say add value, and I don't know if it was Sean Whalen or who, I don't know who it was, said something like, if a post was going to cost you $1,000, how would you write that post, or how would you shoot that video? And that one really clicked for me, because I was the guy who would like, oh, like cool beer, like let's take a picture of it. And like, it wasn't meaningful. And now I truly try to say, how can I help somebody take something from this? Which has then made me be more raw and more
Strategic.
Yes, and like more helpful. Like I'll get into things that maybe I go, like, that's what makes us unique. Cool, like let's share it. Let's help somebody else be unique. Like let's help someone, you know what, if where we're at in 5 years, like if I could help somebody get there in 2 or 3, like that'd be great.
So you've hired a team now to come in and do reels in the office. You set up a whole podcast.
You were getting ready to kick off like a whole podcast series.
Yeah.
I think 2 of them. So I think Tracy and I are going to do, not this, but like an interview kind of a thing with business partners and things. And then I'm just going to do maybe like a solo or just brain dump, just stuff to people. Like I really want to walk through everything we've ever gone through and just share it to people and just go, so that helps someone have the courage to do it. Go, oh my gosh, we're up against that challenge and he's given me how they got through it. I would love to just help people with that.
Yeah, I love it. And you set up a podcast. Is that at your personal desk, or?
That's where I work every day. Tracy kind of teases me because I got the big, boom arm with the mic, and every time she walks in, there's like a little bit more. There's more lights, and she's like, "What are you doing in here?" And I'm like, "I'm helping people. I don't know what's going to happen, other than I'm going to stick with it and
be consistent.
A year, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years from now, I know it's going to be a net positive."
There's guys that are you. There's women,
yes.
The craziest thing to me, it was Gianna, Sella Gold. There's been other women who have reached out to me that are like, dude, when you go off on a story, when you put up a clip where you went on a rant, like you fire me up. And I was like, and I love women. My mom has taught me to be a respectful man, and I think women are beautiful creatures. But like, I'm kind of a little rough around the edges, But those chicks are tough chicks who I appeal to. And that's the base that I want around me. That's the fucking people I want in my tribe. Like my wife. My wife is tough. She's been through the ringer, right? She's had it all go on in her life. Sickness, drugs, everything. She never was into drugs, but she's had drugs affect her life and her family. And same with me, and there's always somebody that went through similar things that you did, and the courage, and that's what lacks in this fucking country, is not enough courage to stand up and say, I'm struggling with this, or stand up and fight for what is right. And the monetary sense, the feel good spiritually, in your heart, in your soul, whatever it may be, that comes back to you is so rewarding.
And I think it's so important to, and I'm not knocking the big guys. I like Ed Milet, Andy Frisell, Sean Whalen, Tony
they're
Robbins.
They're unrelatable a little bit.
But they are because like they are so many steps ahead that like I'm not 2 or 3 notches to get there. And that's where I think that's where I'm realizing maybe I can help, because I go, if I'm like within that arm's reach to that person, I can pull them up to me, and then is there the guy that can kind of pull me up to them. And that, I think, is the beauty of social media, is because then the people that are opening up, you can like almost like touch them.
So I've had guys on my show. My firm as a whole does a lot of revenues. They make a lot of money, but I don't own all that. That's not all my money. Am I around it? Do I see it? Do I help plan with it? Yeah. But my income is not that, right? I'm pretty open with my income, like, to a lot of people. And that doesn't mean if I don't have $3 million of personal net income to me every year, doesn't mean that I can't help the guy who's trying to make 200 grand or 300 grand or 400 grand, because I already did it. I took those steps. I definitely can help that guy. And I can help the guy that's looking to make 2 million who's already making $1 million, because he's not doing certain things that I am doing.
Yes, and I think that's the important part to me, and that's where I'm seeing, like, I can help someone, I can follow someone else, I can then share content from someone else and go, oh my gosh, I want to highlight this person because, like, this is the missing piece for you. And so
that's why you're going to win, because you're a good dude, bro, and that's why you're here.
I appreciate
There's other people who have wanted to come here that don't ever show up to Pitt, and they never will. Your heart's in the right place. You're a great dad, a great husband, and you guys are running an awesome business. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
So moving forward out of social media, I like to talk about particular things that people would give advice or nuggets to a young business owner, entrepreneur, law firm, whatever it may be. Talk about something impactful that has hit you in your life, a quote, and I think the quote I know you're going to talk about, that you think people should focus on, and then what it means to you. And you have a plaque in your office that you talk a lot about.
Yeah, so I'm really big on the whole man in the arena thing. And when you really read it, it's catchy or whatever, but like, I truly would rather I'd rather fail in business, I'd rather go bankrupt than watch it happen, right? And like, social media has created voyeurs, people that just watch and just on the phone all day, wow, watch, like, comment, whatever. Like, I'm doing it. I'm not saying I'm the best at it. We're doing okay. We're clearly having some success. I'm not saying that we're the best or even the upper quartile, whatever. But I'm doing it. I'm having fun. I'm making my mark. I'm showing my kids, like, this is what you do. This is how it can function. You can do this. Dad did this. Mom did this.
Read it.
Yeah, read the quote.
Read the quote.
Oh, okay.
Give everyone the quote.
Perfect.
And this is called "Man in the Arena."
Yeah, by Teddy Roosevelt. After his presidency was over, he went all over the world and said this, and said, "It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows, in the end, the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat."
Yeah, I ain't going out on my knees.
Like, if you're doing it, you're doing it, and you're doing it on your terms. We win, we lose, we live to fight another day. That's better than watching.
Dude, I say that all day long, and I embrace it. Like, that type of quote, like, brings fuel to my fire.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna come get you, and all those people that pepper me with, disdain or dislike or hate. I hate to say haters. I think it's a corny word. I'm doing it.
Yes.
Are you doing it? Are you mad about your credit card bills? Are you mad about the job that you have? Are you pissed at your boss didn't give you your bonus or your promotion that you thought you deserved? You're fucking soft. Go do it.
Yes. I love that scene in Wolf of Wall Street. It's before the big Steve Madden IPO, and he's like, pick up the phone and start dialing.
Dial for dollars.
It's like, spend the money, create the life you want, put the work in, work with me, and I'm going to help you get there. And it's like, that is what this is about. You can either watch someone else do it and go, I would do that if I could, or if I could like live again, I would do it. Like, that's all bullshit, fallacy. Like, we get one go through life. You better make it count, because when you're...
do something cool.
Otherwise, it's over.
Yeah, like why do something like lame? Like, I've never done that. I've been an outsider. I've been a rebel, and Trump, love him, hate him. There's a video that he has out that says, embrace being an outsider, and I fucking love that. I think it's so true, and it's led him to a lot of success, and I think he's going to continue to have a lot of success and save this country, in my opinion.
I sure hope so.
But talking about what it leads you to do, and I want to talk a little bit about you camping and doing all those things that you do with your family now. We talked about earlier, you're not tracking your paid time off. What has that meant to you?
I mean, it's invaluable, right? And like, that is worth more than like whatever we
the dollars and cents.
Yeah, like it is. Like having the RV, like we have a nice big place, nice house. Yeah. We willingly cram ourselves into a camper every other weekend because we just love it. We're having fun. We're making memories. We're digging. We're camping with like gravel like this, and the kids are scooping it up. Maddie's playing with the Barbies. Owen's got his little excavators out, and like we're crawling around, just having fun, making memories. That's what it's about. Like, I'm spending this awesome time with them. We're going on different trips.
Hard to do when you work for someone.
Real hard. It's
maybe once a year.
Am I allowed to do this? Can I? Does it work with everybody else? Yeah, I'm doing it. And I'm going to build the system to allow me. I'm not asking if I can. I'm just doing it.
So, to close this out, and this has been awesome. I think the longest one to date, and we went into a lot of detail. People got a lot of great nuggets out of this, and that's when I get most excited. Some people come on the show, and I don't know if they have like trade secrets or they get shock value, these lights and cameras in their face. But we gave a lot of great nuggets tonight. 2 questions at the end that I like to pose. First one, for any new business owner starting out, entrepreneur, what's one thing that you would leave with them that gives them inspiration or gives them some stability or gives them some faith? What's something you would say to them?
Worst case is never actually like as bad as you think. And so, right, we're so risk averse, I think, that freezes us up.
We're programmed that way.
Yeah. And so when you actually like, I've made a lot of decisions with the business Tracy has, we've done together. Some have been great, some haven't, some have been in between, but like nothing's bankrupted us, nothing shut this thing down, nothing failed us. And what you start to learn is things kind of tend to stay more in the middle, so like it might not, you're not probably going to be a billionaire overnight, but you're also not going to be like at the soup kitchen overnight either.
And if you failed, you can go back to the defense contractor.
Like, that's my worst case scenario, is doing something I didn't love. That's not being homeless.
Yeah. A bug is literally down your throat. It's on, get it. It's on your...
Oh. Feel it.
Yeah, he's on your shirt. Get him out of there. Get him. Let's swipe him out. He likes that bright orange. A second thing is usually talking about business owners in your area that you want to give a shout out, or people that we know in the den or in your digital space.
Yeah.
Give a local business owner to you, or somebody that's a strategic partner of yours with the Zihmer Law Firm.
Yeah. I would definitely give a big shout out to my chiropractor, Nate Reese, and his wife Beth. They're good people that do things the right way. They're a local business in the Canonsburg area, which is really like the town where we're at. They're good folks. They're good patriots. They stick up for what's right. Through COVID and just kind of things, they're not afraid to say, like,
they got courage.
They really do. Like, you look at people like them and go, you're doing things the right way. Like, you are good folks running a good business, helping people. I'm big into chiropractic care. It's really changed my life. And then like the way they handle all of that, yet like with compassion and love. Like, they're not like kicking people out, but they're just like, I'm who I am. You like it? But if not, I can help you too.
Yeah, and I fully agree. Chiropractic, acupuncture, shout out to Thrive here locally. AJ and his whole team, TJ, the girls, Danielle, Debbie, Nikki, all of them, Clint, they do a great job over at Thrive. Also a freedom-loving guy. AJ's a little little reserved with putting that patriotic out there, but I get it. He's a little close to Avon and the Libs. Talk about somebody in the digital space, someone we may know in the coaching group together that has inspired you, or you've been talking to or watching a lot, and they've given a lot to you.
Yeah, shout out Amanda Katarzi. You just share a lot of value and just things with social media, and she's helped me just polish up some little details. And probably even part of this was I reached out to her and said, how the heck do you get on podcasts? And she told me things she had done earlier to get on, and I've been starting to record with other people and be on other shows and things, and even gave me the confidence, honestly, someone I knew, to just say, like, maybe I'll put an application and see.
How do I get on?
Yeah, and so huge shout out to her. Just again, she's just trying to help people and gives a ton of value and doing some awesome things.
Yeah, and shout out to the Lions Den. I mean, there's a lot of people in there
That's why we know each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of very baseline new business owners, and I think a lot of these coaching groups, like, everybody goes into it. I've seen it in the real estate space, the financial planning space, and that's not even stuff digitally. It's going to it in person. Everybody's going there looking for the $1 million ticket, just like a weight loss pill. They're looking to take the pill. Like, it's the little nuggets that you could pick up. And the Lions Den, and Sean, he's misconstrued. He's taken the wrong way. Like, that's a pretty impressive group. You get what you look for in those things.
Yes, you do. And I think once, I don't know, I get them both literally like what he says, but sometimes too when you realize what he's built or how or why he does things, I kind of see that way too.
Very strategic.
He's very strategic, and so I feel like sometimes people like us get a second level of nugget from in there, and that's been very worthwhile.
We'll talk about his recent issue with the FTC. I don't know the law. I'm not a lawyer, but the short story is he thought he was making a product in the USA, because you can buy a blank T-shirt from Indonesia, China, Vietnamese, whatever it may be, and I don't think many blanks are made in the US at all. And then as long as you tag it, bag it, and have a warehouse here, ship it from, you're doing most of the manufacturing here. You could say it's made in the USA. And I guess some rules were changed up, and the liberal media is crushing him. They're going after him left and right, and all it has done is had his website traffic up 1,000%. His sales are through the roof, 200%.
I'm happy for him. Like, but like mindset, right? This could defeat some people. This could make people all close in. And he's owning it. Yeah. He said, "This is what happened. I paid my fine because it did change, and we were in the wrong. It's what it was." And now he was on Yahoo, USA Today, Drudge. I mean,
all of them.
The whole country knows who Sean Whalen is.
And it's crazy. He's had some death threats to his workers.
And that's the shame of where things have gone today, is people can't just say, we agree, but like, we disagree. Like, just be adults about it. This has gone so out of control with people going,
we disagree. The crazy guy who tried to kill Kavanaugh and his family. He thought he was going to change the trajectory of the bench because he was going to kill a conservative justice.
They're totally
along with
nuts.
2 others. This guy had. That's not the way America works.
No.
And as angry as I may get, as much as I may listen to conspiracy theorist guys on the right and on the left, like, I'm not looking to go harm anybody with my AR-15. I'm not looking to do anything wrong. I'm looking to show up at the ballot box and fucking beat you. I'm looking to market and beat you. And that's real democracy, and that's what we have to get back to. Everything that they are doing is to push us against each other and to act out violently when we need to just use the law and the system that was created by our founding fathers many, many years ago.
And I think a guy who's been really showing, I think, some great content on that has been Andy Frisella lately.
Yeah.
With like,
he's going all
put
in.
the bullshit aside. That flag is our flag. That's for all of us, all Americans. Let's all come together.
Black, white, green, yellow, gay, straight, whatever. As long as you're a good person.
Yeah,
I agree. Well, dude, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you coming out.
No,
Tomorrow we're going to tour more of the area. I'm excited that you're here. I want other people to come in and experience all this. And I think we have some great nuggets for your listeners, for my listeners. And thank you again. And thank Tracy. I know she can't be here. You have 2 children at home.
She's doing the hard work at home tonight. Thank you so much. Love you with what you're doing for the kids. Let me come out here.
And shout out to your 2 beautiful kids.
Yep.
They're very cute. I'm glad he's loving his tractor.
Yes. Thanks for letting me come out.
Cheers, brother. Thank you.